Feeling inspired by hosts Ron and Tyler? This episode of the MovieBuffs Podcast is brought to you by the YouTube workout channel Time to Train Fitness. With all things YouTube, it's free. Jump into a bar class, crank out a cycling workout, or pump out a strength session. Everything you need to work out for free at home. Check out the description and subscribe today.
You heard the promo about Time to Train Fitness and you're thinking, how do I get some dumbbells? There's really only two products that I recommend when it comes to at-home fitness, and one of those are the Core Home Fitness Adjustable Dumbbells. If you're already following the YouTube workouts, these are the dumbbells that I use, me, Tyler, and you've probably seen me adjust them between the weights super fast. Along with adjusting quickly, they go from 5 pounds to 50 pounds and feel great in the hands. Head to the link in the description and grab yourself a pair. You have the free workouts on YouTube and will now have the dumbbells to help you reach your fitness goals. Let's get to the episode. Welcome to another instant reaction episode in the MovieBuffs Podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia and I'm going to be talking about John Wick 4. Now, I'm pretty amped, if you can probably tell. The octaves, the intensity of my voice here, I'm pretty amped. I'll say right now, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, and with the instant reaction episodes, we try to keep these spoiler free. So I'm gonna say this right now that I'm gonna see if we can make this into a full episode with the MovieBuffs Podcast, a full video episode that goes through really all the details, gives a full review of it, and includes all the spoilers because there's a lot of details that I'm going to be leaving out in this episode. I kind of already went through my outline and made sure, double checked it, because I'll admit it, in one of the more recent episodes, I actually had spoilers. It was the Creed 3 one, and I had to cut it out the day that it was publishing because I put spoilers in there. I don't know what came over me, but it happens. So with this one, I'm really going to try my best. And if I have to, again, cut them out because I get too excited, I'll do it. But John Wick 4 is going to be the main topic of this instant reaction. But before we get any further, I'm going to talk about the Naboso insoles, the Naboso products. If you're a fan of this podcast, if you listen to it, watch it on YouTube, you know that there's an ad for the Naboso products. I always mention the foot care story, that I used to have foot pain. Sitting at a desk all day, then trying to be active was a task. Really had to stretch out my feet, my toes, massage it to get ready to just do any type of activity. And then it became a process that made working out a chore. And someone like myself, that's fitness oriented, it's not what you want. They have other products that can help in this area, but I started off with these insoles that really changed my life. They're in my normal outdoor shoes. You don't see them, but they're in my outdoor shoes that I wear almost regularly every day. But after that, I got the toe spacers. I got the hand simulator. So they have other products that help with foot care, neurostim stuff. And I really think that anybody listening to this podcast can benefit from the products they have. Check out the link in the description so they know that we sent you from the MovieBuffs Podcast, and come back and let me know what you think. Let's get back now to John Wick. Honestly, it could have been called John Wick 4 Legends. I know that only one installment in the John Wick series has a title that's the Parabellum, but Legends honestly could have been. With Donnie Yen in there, Hiroyuki Sanada, oh my goodness. They crush it. They are legends in themselves. I know that I tweeted from the MovieBuffs account about Donnie Yen, and he's so smooth. He's so good. And I'm already jumping ahead with talking and raving about Donnie Yen, but I think that this is the best installment in the series, to be honest. I texted with one of my buddies that it's hard to say something is better than the original. The original John Wick before this movie was easily my favorite. The other two, great. Other ones got great action. Progressively tried to give it more, but I always had some connection to the original. But then this one comes around and they outdid it. They really leveled up in so many areas, and I think it's the best one. What's going to be in this episode? Cast and crew, action, runtime, look and lighting, and then my favorite character other than John Wick. Let's get started with the cast and crew. The director is Chad Stahelski. He was John Wick's stunt coordinator. He was also the stunt double prior to this. So he's done all the John Wicks. And the first one he did with another director that's just as talented, in my opinion, and comes kind of from that same world, that same kind of avenue. They were stunt coordinators before, and you see on a lot of popular movies, they were the stunt coordinator for, and they finally got their shot with the original John Wick, and they crushed it, and it really changed the trajectory of their lives, both of them. And so Chad, he's got some great movies in production, and so we'll see how all those start to pan out, and hopefully he'll bring some level of action. I'm sure he will. With that, there's Keanu, John Wick, as you know. He's great in this one. As he gets older, it just becomes even more impressive. The interesting thing before this one, I think it was my wife. She mentioned, I got to remind myself what happened in the other ones. And I kind of just said nicely that you don't really watch John Wick for the story. You just watch to see Keanu just kicking ass and seeing how he can kill people. You don't really, is there a story? Yeah, of course. The higher table, revenge on his dog, sad about his wife, all these types of things are in there. Yeah, of course it's in this one, but you watch John Wick to see the action. So Keanu, as he's aging, I mean, this guy, he moves so well. And I'm sure that the work that they all put into it, it really shows. And Keanu is, he's a master of his craft. That's the best way to say it. Lawrence Fishburn, what's not to love seeing Keanu and Lawrence again in any type of movie? Lance Reddick, R.I.P. I was actually a big fan of Bosch. My wife and I, we would watch each new season on Amazon Prime, and to hear about his passing just a week before the premiere, devastating. Seeing him in it and seeing what happens to his character, oh man, it took me a second to get back engaged in it, because you're just thinking about him as an individual and as an actor. So R.I.P. Clancy Brown, he's a new introduction into the series and into this installment. Bill Skarsgard. It was fun to see him because I just did a instant reaction. Actually, I did a back day on Barbarian, which I can put in the description for this one. It's my full review of that movie. It's a horror movie. So it was kind of cool to see him jumping from Barbarian into this. And you always think that he is the most evil person when you see him on screen because of the roles he's played. He is kind of this character that is given power from the high table in order to kill John, building off of the previous installments. And so his character is one that, and this is why I'm saying I kind of want to do a full breakdown of John Wick. And he's one of those ones that I want to dive deeper into, because I'm just going to kind of leave it right there. Ian McShane's in it. Donnie Yen. I have actually something saved for Donnie Yen. You could probably guess what area I'm going to talk about him. Hiroyuki Sanada. Always great to see him and stuff. And Shamir Anderson. He was actually a fun character. I'm not going to talk too much about it because you got to see it. But he's a fun character in this. Kind of had this Westerner cowboy feel. He says his name's Nobody. On IMDb, I'm trying to think back to if they called him the Tracker on IMDb. But he was a good character. I think that he was one that you wanted to see more of, which is good. Not saying that the movie needed any more screen time, or anybody in general need more screen time, or the movie need to be longer. I'm just saying you wanted to see more and know more about him. And he was a fun character. Action now. Whew. Something that came to my mind when we were driving home from this was a while back, I'd seen like some behind the scenes with Spectre, with James Bond. And it wasn't Sam Mendes in particular. I think it was the set designer or location, a scout or something like that, how they wanted to outdo each location of Skyfall. They wanted to outdo Skyfall in every capacity, and they kind of they did. They fell short. I'll say it. They fell short with Spectre, and it reminded me of this line from this individual, because John Wick 4 outdoes it with the action, the scenes, how they put everything together. It's amazing. And outdoing each film is such a task. I think that even goes to with one of my favorite directors, Christopher Nolan, how he doesn't necessarily make movies to be sequels. And that was the big thing with like the Batman in his trilogy, was he never intended it to be a trilogy, because you put so much into one movie. How do you hold back? Even if you have that type of mindset, it becomes difficult, because then you're thinking, okay, well, the third one, the fourth one, we want to do this, we want to do this. So outdoing the previous John Wicks, I mean, they had a huge task in front of them, and it's amazing. One of the things that I thought early on in the movie in terms of the action was actually how you see people of all shapes and sizes moving, using martial arts, fighting, and it's amazing. I mean, you have guys that are like 6'4", 6'6", 6'8", beasts of individuals, scrapping, fighting, moving, doing martial arts. You have sumo wrestlers in the mix. You have everybody honestly just showing out for this movie. And it's really cool to see, I think. It's not just a certain body shape person. You see people of all shapes and sizes, which I think is a really cool thing, and something that even goes to martial arts. It's not just for one type of person. It's for everybody, which is great. And that's why you even have different distinctions of it in terms of how do you want to do and get involved with martial arts. So pretty cool with that. And also the last piece here I'm going to talk about with action is the use of slow-mo, lighting, and the music. It's all done in a way that's so tasteful. It's not overused. And I don't think any Snyder bros listen to this podcast, but that is my big issue with Snyder films, is the overuse of slow-mo. And with this, it's tasteful. The lighting is part of the action. It's part of the set. It's not just there to light the actors. It's there to be art. The music, it's almost like a pulse. When you are watching it, you are pulsing through it with the music. You find yourself tapping your hand, tapping your foot, moving with it. It's all part of the experience of sitting there and watching this movie. So it's really cool to see how the director uses this with his storytelling. The action is amazing. One more story. I keep saying this. One more story that I heard with it. And this is not a spoiler. It's already out there. I think people know already that some of this is filmed in Paris and the Arc de Triomphe. And I think it was Chad Stahelski, the director, talking about how good Keanu got with driving in a circle and hitting targets. And that fact right there, he got so good at driving a car without a door in a circle and hitting targets. It goes into the prep, everything that they thought of for this movie. They practice it because they know that the audience wants to see what Keanu's going to do, what's going to happen, and be entertained. They definitely hit the mark there. With the runtime of this is the longest installment at 2 hours and 49 minutes. I personally did not have an issue with that. I know that some people, I know on Twitter already, my wife did think that it was a little long and some areas it dragged, but I've always said that if scenes in a movie and if the content is entertaining, I don't care how long it is. 3 hours, 3.5, whatever that might be, I don't care. As long as it's entertaining, things are not rushed. Example, i.e. every DC movie, just rushing through everything and you don't get any character development. But I got sidetracked there, getting all heated about that. But with this movie, almost 3 hours long, I felt like there was no point where I was like, well, man, this was so long. I mean, think about Avatar. Going into Avatar, you already know it's going to be a long movie. You've heard about the run times of those, and you're like, oh man, do I need to go to the bathroom? Or I got to go to the bathroom before the movie starts. With this one, there was no point where, in my mind, I was like, I need to leave, or wow, like this is so long, because it was entertaining. You go from one action scene to the next. It's building, and it's building up to something that you're just like, wow, how do they do all this? So that was an issue for me. But again, longest installment at 2 hours, 49 seconds. The look and the lighting, I already talked about some of this stuff. The angles of this, and I think it was in one of my recent instant reactions of everything. And you know that I don't know why I can't say this, to anything everywhere all at once. It was everything. And I might have to edit that out because I don't know why I'm drawing such a blank on it. But the angles of the movie, they're done in a way that you see everything. And now it's coming to my mind, everything, everywhere, all at once. There we go. Redemption. But the action for it, let me give you a comparison. One of my biggest issues with the Russo brothers, the brothers that did the Avengers, is they base things off of sound, like the impact of each punch. And with some of the camera, you don't really see what's going on. They're so close. You're almost having to use your imagination to fill out how they completed a move. It's, right in the gut, or they're flipping over so the camera gets blocked, and you're just having to use your imagination of what happened. With this movie, or movies that have a lot of martial arts, they move with what's ever going on screen. So if they're jumping through the air, they're moving with, and all of a sudden they're on the ground, they're kicking, they're rolling, whatever that might be, you are moving so you don't miss anything. And I think that that's a great feature of this movie that you see in a lot of martial arts. Shang-Chi is another case of that one, that you see everything, and that inspiration from martial arts movies, it's apparent to me. And that's just my opinion on that. And I actually vented about this one in my Creed 3 review, but I'm not trying to badmouth Creed 3, but that was one of my big issues, was the tightness of the screen. You're so locked in with the character. It feels like you're like over the shoulder at every point. Like you're like almost like a riding piggyback on Adonis sometimes throughout the movie, that you miss the surroundings, the experience, what's going on. And you are almost kind of thinking like, okay, what's the right, left, what's in front of me? And that might've been the goal of Michael B. Jordan with that movie, but that was one of my issues. But getting back now to John Wick, I just thought it was great. The camera movement, how you see everything in combination with the lights and the music, just chef's kiss. Boom. Last one I'm going to talk about here in this instant reaction is my favorite character other than John Wick. And I started off saying that I'm going to come back to Donnie Yen. And here's my high praise of him. The guy is almost 60 years old. He's 59 years old. And his stunts are so smooth and look so effortless that it's art. It really reminded me back when I was in middle school, 7th, 8th grade, when I remember when one of my buddies that knew about him, and he's all hyped about Blade 2 and how hyped we were when his character Snowman got on screen and he was about to do some martial arts, and just how quick he was, and how, thinking back to the movie over the weekend, he is still so quick and so smooth that his character is blind, and he plays that so well. He did the same kind of thing in Rogue One, but he's blind, but yet he's so effortless. He's the fastest person on screen, and he does it like it's just like riding a bike, just like walking, just like breathing. Martial arts and him, they just go together, and it's so fun to watch. But going further into like what I was talking about with my childhood, in teenage years was I was a big fan of Jackie Chan. Right? Bad Jackie Chan movies. I'm talking not like, what is the one I'm trying to blank on? It's not American Outlaws. It's the one with him and Owen Wilson that I'm talking like all the dubbed ones. I remember I would go get a video from Blockbuster, get a pizza from Little Caesars, and just go to town watching his movies and his stunts. And then at the end of the movie where they have like all the mistakes with the stunts and like all, like even some of them like just showing how they were done and like him getting stuck in certain places. Like a big fan of Jackie Chan. So seeing him and like growing up, seeing stuff like Donnie Yen, and of course Michelle Yeoh, like all them starting to come into the light. It was an eye-opening experience for some of myself that thought like martial arts could be so amazing because it is an art. It's an art form. And now you hear about the directors these days that are inspired by some of these martial arts classics. And it's for good reason. I think that the camera movement with these movies, with action in general, you sometimes just think, okay, we're going to do a wide shot, get a close shot, and we'll just make it up in post-production. And you see some action movies that really drop the baton with it. And so how they capture the shots in this movie, how they capture stunts is just on another level. And Donnie Yen, when he is on screen, for me personally, like I got excited. There's some scenes in there that I got really excited to see him be Donnie Yen and see him just go all out, which was awesome. And I hope that there's some more things that come with him because he's really a treat for us, the viewer, that enjoy martial arts and enjoy watching him. I think it's a real treat for us. So that was kind of been my instant reaction here with John Wick 4. As you can tell, I'm really excited about the movie. I highly recommend it. I don't think there's anybody even out there that doesn't like John Wick, honestly. How can you not enjoy these movies? It's entertainment. I think that's one of the big things that I always come back to. It's entertainment. It's not real. It's for fun. Enjoy it. And you definitely go to this one and walk out feeling on cloud nine if you are a fan of this series, because they really hit a home run with it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. These instant reaction episodes, again, just kind of spoiler free, talking about some of the things in it that I enjoyed, but not giving away too much. Thank you for listening, being a fan of the MovieBuffs Podcast. If you can, share with a friend, anybody that you think would enjoy this episode. Leave us a comment, leave us a review. But as always, thank you again for being a MovieBuffs Podcast fan, and I will see you in the next one.